Hello and welcome. So as you can see, I've already done the Times Quick Cryptic number 2703, number 2703. Um, Unfortunately, as I did it as a live solve, and somehow I managed not to put the microphone on, so I had no audio to it at all. I don't think I can realistically recreate all the trials and tribulations I went through. But you can see I did it in 1816. So I'm just going to go through the clues, break those down and explain those to people. So one across, most of a month's brandy. So the month we're looking for is March, and if you take most of the word March and you just lose the H off the end, you get Mark, and that is a type of brandy. So whenever you see a clue that says most of something, or a lot of, or mostly, you just lose one letter off the end of it. 4 across, assess legacy the writers received. So if you assess something, you estimate it. So that was the definition was assess, and we were trying to get to the word, an answer of estimate. So a legacy is an estate, and from Orpheus's perspective, the person who's written it, he's saying I'm, and so that's received into the middle of it. Put I'm into the middle of it, estate, and you get estimate. 8 across, endless reality badly restricting Italian people of letters. So this was kind of a bit of an interesting clue to try and figure out at the time when I first read it. So this is saying endless reality. So again, lose the last letter of reality. So lose the Y, and badly make that do an anagram with that. So REALIT. And then restricting Italian, so Italian is actually IT, just an abbreviated to IT, so you've got REALIT, restricting IT, to give us people of letters who are literati. 9 across, high flyers, frivolous escapade, so we've got double definition here. A high flyer is a lark, a bird, type of bird, and a frivolous escapade is a lark. Yeah, well, that was a bit of a lark. That's something you've enjoyed doing. 10 across, breakaway group accepting army corps confidence. Now, I was lucky here because I think this came up in a crossword in one of the QCs last week. So I could see, I remembered breakaway group, or something very similarly included then, was a sect, SECT, and that's accepting Army Corps. So one of the Army Corps is the Royal Engineers, RE. So accepting it means put it into it, which gives you the word secret, which is a confidence. You know, if you keep a secret, you keep someone's confidence. Army Corps equals RE. There's so many of these abbreviations for the Army and the Navy and the Air Force and what have you. Just have to learn them, and I think there's at least 3 in this clue, in this crossword, that kind of relate to the army. Let's move on. 11. Organ accompanying old musical. So the organ in question is your liver, and that's accompanying old. So O for old. Put them together. Oliver, like Oliver Twist. I think when you read that clue, it's meant to direct you towards thinking of a church organ, but obviously we're looking at an organ of the body. 12 across now. I really like this clue, the way it's constructed. Balanced in favour of food allocation consumed. So balanced is proportionate, so that's what we're trying to get to, balanced. We can cross that word out of the clue because we know we're ending up with proportionate. In favour of is if you're pro it, for it, pro. A food allocation is a portion, and then consumed is something you've ate. You ate something, you consumed it. Now, again, this is where cryptics get a little bit difficult because the word consumed there might have, I think when I first looked at this clue, I thought it was trying to get me to put a food allocation into something. Consumed would suggest it's going to eat it up, but in this case it wasn't, it was just proportion ate. Oh, gone the wrong way. Next clue. 16. Light meals. Naffy originally served in bags. So again, we're looking to get to light meals is the definition. That's what we're looking to get the answer to. And a snack or snacks are light meals. So in the clue, naffy originally, so take the first letter, the original letter of naffy, which is an N. So this is like confusing mentally because naffy is an acronym in itself. I think it's something to do with the Air Force, kind of where they have canteens, food, the naffy. So take an N and serve that in bags, put it into bags, and bags are sacks. So N into sacks becomes snacks. 17 across. Brother's house. So again, we've got the definition given to us immediately. So think of brothers. Brothers aren't, we're not talking about family here, we're talking about monks and brothers. So their house where they live is a priory, and the clue breaks down as quiet port by railway. So quiet is the letter P. You get this quite often in crosswords, P for piano in musical notation. A port is Rio, which I've always taken to be Rio de Janeiro, and then railway is just RY. So put those together, we get priory. 19. Work in outskirts of 5, making pith helmet. Now this is interesting. This is really a slightly more advanced clue because we've got work in outskirts of 5. We've got the number 5. Now number 5 here, typically when you see an actual numerical number like that, it's saying look at clue number 5, which was over here. Excuse me, I won't go through it, but basically it's saying look at that clue, and we can see that's the answer to that is Tripoli. So the outskirts of Tripoli, let's go back to it, although it's a city, the outskirts are actually the T and the I. So take the outskirts of Tripoli, and back to the clue, a work is put into that, so we've got the T and the I, and then the work that's going in there is op. So I think that relates to the if you've got an opus, if you've written material, one of your works of fiction, works of masterpiece, is an opus. Like as in things are operating as well. So topi is a type of pith helmet that you might see in the jungle. Again, not something I'm very familiar with. Going to scroll down to look at these last couple of clues. 20 across. Munitions finally kept in Alpine Garden. So let's just begin with munitions. Well, we look at munitions are a type of warfare thing. In this case, they come out as rocketry. So that was what we were trying to get to. So we've got finally kept. So finally is saying take the last letter of kept, which is a T there, and we're putting that into an Alpine Garden. An Alpine Garden is a rockery. I think I'm not quite sure why it needed to be an Alpine Garden, because I think my parents used to have a rockery in their garden in England. Very un-alpine when we're at sea level. 21 across. So here's the third word I've come across. So we had mark at the start. We've got topi, and now we've got dragoman. So let's break this clue down. So fierce woman. So a fierce woman, interestingly, is a dragon. Maybe that's not politically correct these days, but it's gone through the editorial process, and they're quite strict on what's allowable. It's maybe a little bit on the edge, but fierce woman carrying mothers. So mother is ma. That's definitely not too un-PC. We know. I think most of us are quite happy calling our mums ma at times. So, and that gives us an old Middle East guide. Dragoman. So fierce woman, dragon, carrying mother, ma, gives us old Middle East guide. A dragoman, not sure. 22 across, silk. So this was, 22 across, the clue is barrister, second class. This was my last one in, and I actually have to do a bit of alphabet trawling to get there. And a barrister is a silk, it's now King's Council, and they're just known as silks. I couldn't get to that initially. It didn't spring to mind. It's probably something I need to learn. But second is an S, and then ilk is a class. So that ilk of person, class, sort, kind. Ilk is just another word for class. So put them together, you get silk. Let's look at the downs. 2 down. Supple soldier dipping into drink. So again, we've got the word we're looking for is supple, which is agile. That's the answer. A soldier, another type of soldier, GI, General Infantry. And they're dipping into drinks, so they're being put into a drink, which in this case is ale. So that gives us agile. 3 down. Okay, a little bit of I think it's a bit of an old chestnut, this one. 3 down. Choosing the best job on the fruit farm. So it's a bit of a cryptic pun here. If you choose the best thing, the best job, then you're cherry picking. And the job on the fruit farm, well, if it's a fruit farm, then you go cherry picking. So that's the answer. 4 down. Spot on, former partner initially attracting court. So again, we've got the definition right at the start of the clue. Spot on. If you're spot on, you're exact. Former partner is an ex. And initially attracting, so take the initial letter of attracting, which is an A. That goes there. And then court is shortened to CT, so we get exact, X, A, CT. 5 down. Mistake over oil spilt in North African capital. So if you make a mistake, you trip, and that's going over, and because it's a down clue, it's on top of, it's over oil spilt, which is asking us to do an anagram of oil. So we've got O-L-I for oil, and put those together we get North African capital, Tripoli, which is the capital of Libya. I was very happy to remember. I had to remember that by going through the list of capitals I know up there, which is Algiers, Tunis, Cairo, and Rabat, I think it is. The other one I could think of. So fortunately got to Tripoli eventually. 6 down. Rich woman's son with role in Mali is thrown out. So when I first looked at this clue, I could see that role in Mali has quite significant numbers of letters to them, and the word out on the end was making me think there's an anagram in here, and it's a 13-letter clue. And I go S for son, and I go 4 letters in role in Mali is. So 4, 8, 12, 13 letters. So it's probably going to be an anagram of someone who is a rich woman, and anagram all that together, and you get millionairess. 7 down. Badger blokes caught by civil wrong. So if you badger someone, you're tormenting them. Blokes, M-E-N, blokes are men, and they're caught by a civil wrong, a tort. So a bit of legalese there that comes up from time to time. Don't see it really regularly, probably once every 2 or 3 months it comes up as a word, so one of those words that's worth learning. 10 down. Substance that's primarily sustaining assorted plants. So the whole of that clue gives us sap, because sap is a substance, but actually it's a little bit more than that. It's giving us more of a hint than that. It's saying a substance that's primarily sustaining assorted plants. Plants need sap to carry the nutrients. But what's actually given to us is the fact it's saying primarily, and then we've got sustaining assorted plants. Take those initials of that, sustaining assorted plants, we get sap. 13 down. Resentment, private soldier expressed vocally. So resentment is rancor. A private soldier is also a rancor, but the two words are spelt differently. A rancor in the private soldier sense would be R-A-N-K-E-R, but if you express it vocally, you get a sound like. So that's how you get to rancor the resentment. 14 down. On which one conducts or turns up to play ineptly. So a conductor in an orchestra is up on the rostrum. So that's the definition we're heading towards. And then we've got or turns up. So there we go, or turned up. So it becomes R-O. And then if you play ineptly, maybe just strumming. Put them together, they are rostrum. Next clue, 15 down. C replays regularly. So a C, although it can be to do with visual eyesight, a C is actually I believe it's the area that a bishop has authority over. And one of the C's in England is Ely, I think it is. said Ely C, and that's in, I think, around Cambridgeshire area, Cambridge. So how we get to that answer is the fact that we've got replays regularly left to decoding the clue, and regularly is an indicator to say just take every other letter. So we can either take R, P, A, doesn't give us much, or we can take E, L, Y, which gives us Ely. Excuse me. 17. Writer ringing about a type of nut. So a writer is a pen, P-E-N, and so that's going around about a type of nut. Now we can see the A. Where's the C coming from, you might be wondering. So we're just left with the word about. Well, if you think of your Latin terminology, circa means about. So put those together, you get a type of nut, which specifically get type of nut, a pecan. And the final one in, 18, country, river, one in Russia. So this is quite a clever little clue actually, because it took me a while to figure out quite what was going on. Country, so if you're out in the country, you're in a rural area. So that's what we're heading towards. We're trying to get to. Country equals rural. Now river is the letter R, so we can cross that bit of the clue off. And then we've got one in Russia. Well, what we're left with is Ural, and in Russia there's a mountain range, I believe, called the Urals. So if you only take one of the Urals, then you've got a Ural, and that gives you rural. So there we are, all done. Took me about 18 minutes, 16 this morning. I had a little bit of worry because it's an Orpheus crossword, but really pleased to get that done. As I say, Mark, Topi, Dragoman, definitely not easy. Definitely not words you would definitely necessarily know without having lived in crossword land for a while. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed that and made some sense.